Hello, fellow clear mind enjoyer. Today, I'm showcasing the updated Superheavy Synchrons build that I reached Master 1 with. I'll be giving a brief deck profile, focusing on the changes I made since the last build. The previous deck profile will be linked in the video description, where I discuss the deck in more detail and showcase the two main combos you want to achieve. Let's start with the main deck. I removed the Garnet cards Mare and Psy Frame Driver because I kept drawing into them too often, so I decided to eliminate them. In their place, I added one Ghost Ogre, one Ghost Bell, and the Bysteel package. Ghost Ogre is effective against SHS and serves as a good cross-out target, while Ghost Bell proves surprisingly helpful in various matchups. The Bystials are particularly useful against the Branded and Mathmech matchup. Druisworm proves itself effective against cards like Baguska or Rextern. Other than that, the main deck remains mostly unchanged. Now, onto the extra deck. I removed Marcher because although it consistently raised the deck's ceiling, it lacked the flexibility I desired. Yazi was also removed due to Mare, and in their places, I added the powerhouses Baguska and Chaos Angel. Baguska is an excellent play against Max C, especially when combined with Adventure. Another significant aspect of Baguska is its ability to bluff for Zeus during the battle phase, often forcing opponents to respond and apply more disruption. I'll showcase some replays of this strategy later. Chaos Angel is an overall strong monster that provides solid protection, causing many decks to struggle in dealing with it. Without further ado, let's dive into the replays. Let's start with a duel against Labrynth. This will showcase the power of Baguska. Unfortunately, my combo got disrupted, so I decided to go into Baguska to stall for the next turn. First I felt secure with Droll and Max C in hand, then I recognized that my hand traps weren't optimal against Labrynth, as Max C only yields one draw and Droll does almost nothing. Seeing that I had a hand that could get me into Speeder, I opted to play it slowly. First, I bluffed for Zeus and Chain blocked the trap card for Lady Labrynth with Max C, blocking the search for a trap. The opponent's Ash on Max C didn't matter and, in fact, turned out to be good bait. Now, let's assess how many interactions Baguska forced out. First, the opponent used Big Welcome, leading to an early destruction of Lovely Labyrinth in a game state where it didn't matter. The second and third interruptions were forced by the attack on Torby. The opponent had to discard a card, fortunately a hand trap, that could stop us. By attempting to battle with Baguska alone, we garnered 3 interactions from just one play. From this position, we can safely get into Speeder and execute some combos to accumulate enough disruptions to survive the next turn. OG. Stardust Dragon proved surprisingly effective in the Labrynth matchup. You'll see why later. My game plan was to halt all their starters for resource loops, allowing me to win the grind game. On my turn Barone tags out for Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon so I can go into Shenshin. Shenshin is one of the best cards for a sustainable grind game while disrupting Labrynth effectively. My next play was to eliminate their starter with Omega. But unfortunately, they drew into it. Here, you witness the grind power of Shenshin and the effectiveness of OG. Stardust Dragon.
Activate Stardust's special ability! It might be a big price to pay.
Now, all that's left is to negate their starter again and secure the win. The second game is against Sword Soul and should provide an example of situations where you choose your plays based on the knowledge you have. The opponent has a suboptimal start with a combination that loses to Droll. However, they gain knowledge about my hand with the help of Triple Tactics talents. Knowing what they are up against, they opt for Dragite, revealing Adhara with Mohei, which indicates that their follow-up is limited. Dragite is a good play on their part, effectively stopping my hand in Superheavy Synchrons. In my draw phase, they activate Max C, but I know their only card in hand is Adhara, and they are forced to rely on a good top deck. So, I decide to search for my cards, preparing for my next turn. Apparently, they drew into nothing significant to advance their game state. Meanwhile, I drew into Fateful Adventure, giving me two ways to get into Speeder. First, I bait the Dragite negate with Wakaushi, and then I activate Fateful Adventure. Now, let's pause for a moment and think about potential Sword Soul back row threats. The first that comes to mind is Infinite Impermanence, but we can bounce it back with Dracoback. Another possibility is Sword Soul Blackout, but it's dead at the moment. The last card that could be a threat is Called by the Grave, but we can play around it by pitching on your mark instead of Enchantress. Now, let's see what the back row card is. It turns out to be Called by the Grave, confirming that the play around it was optimal. So, I normal summon Jet Synchron and go for Speeder, securing the victory. Now, let's dive into the third replay, showcasing the optimal play against Max C. First, we aim to go into Baguska and then set up an adventure play in case they manage to out Baguska. Fortunately, we have hand traps for additional protection. We use Max C on the activation of Small World in case the opponent wants to search for Ash Blossom, but they have Called by the Grave regardless. Identifying it as Mathmech, Baguska disrupts their plays decently but not completely. It seems the opponent didn't play this game optimally, but our main concern is Access Code Talker, and as an answer to it, we have Valor. Let's see how the opponent plays it out. first, they managed to out Baguska, but due to the effect of Fateful Adventure, they can't deal with the adventure token. As a result, Illegal Knight is still in play, and during main phase 2, we special summon him, bouncing some cards during the end phase. Then, during our turn, we bounce Illegal Knight back to our hand, leading to the opponent surrendering. In the fourth and final game, we face Branded with a heavily delayed Max C. The opponent seemingly tried to play around Gamma and most likely Baguska because the typical super heavy combo takes a different route that can't get into Baguska after the first Synchro summon. Fortunately for us, we're still able to get into Baguska, and the opponent couldn't do much during their turn. During our turn, I made a small misplay by not going into the battle phase with Baguska to threaten a Zeus, even though we don't play it. Instead, I opt for Hyper Librarian to search with Soulpiercer. The opponent special summons Albaz and goes for Mirror Jade with our Hyper Librarian. Then, I move into the battle phase to force out the Mirror Jade banish. In main phase 2, we go for Junk Speeder and we are chain blocking it with Jet Synchron's search for Junk Synchron. The idea is to play around potential back row threats, and since we haven't used the normal summon yet, we can revive Jet anyway with Junk Synchron. The back row turns out to be Branded in red, leading to a Guardian Chimera that pops our non-tuner, reducing the combo's potential. Fortunately, we already have access to Trail and try to create the best board under the circumstances. We attempt to snipe Branded Fusion with Omega, which would win us the game, but unfortunately, we miss. Guardian Chimera can out Barone in the battle phase, but luckily, we survive the turn with 2 Veilers to stop their follow-up. With the top deck of rights, we clear the board and finish the game. The opponent tries to stop it, but Despia negates it. I hope you enjoyed the style of the video, and let me know if you'd like to see more of that play-by-play commentary. Thank you for watching. I would appreciate some feedback and I would be quite happy if you like and subscribe.